My name is Nikki Mohan, and I will be your host today. This is the third tutorial in the Leadershift 2020 series called Renewing Our Schools for Modern Times using the 6 pillars. During the course of this tutorial, you will be able to define a modern learning organization, be able to list the 6 factors which we call pillars that are the critical components of a modern learning organization, and third, be able to briefly identify the elements in each pillar. But before we begin, I want to welcome you to the Committed Sardine channel. So let's begin by asking, what is a modern learning organization? Take a moment and very quickly think about the terms that come to mind. Please write those down in the comment box below. Now, we define modern learning organizations as being aligned to how today's students learn. Modern learning organizations facilitate traditional teaching and learning when needed. And it offers the following: flexibility in how classes and groups are structured. There are open spaces, breakout spaces, common spaces, individual spaces, shared spaces, and learning hubs. Modern learning organizations offer access to a wide range of both digital and non-digital resources. They also promote collaboration, problem-based learning, and support a range of innovative pedagogical practices. And most importantly, modern learning organizations have professional staff who continuously seek to find answers through inquiry and then act on their learning to improve student learning. In the first tutorial, Ian gave a brief overview of our LeaderShift 2020 model. And he stressed the importance of ensuring we establish a baseline before undertaking any change initiative. Establishing a baseline involves taking a snapshot of current teaching, learning, and assessment practices, as well as the infrastructure that supports that teaching, learning, and assessment before any changes are implemented. Now, let's take a moment to collectively examine and identify the factors critical to the success of modern learning organizations. In other words, what are the critical factors that determine the difference between success and failure in leading out change? Pause the video and take a couple of minutes to come up with some answers. Our team has been researching this question for well over a decade. We've worked with clients in more than 80 countries and examined thousands of articles and research documents. To date, no matter where we go or who we talk to, the critical factors that are consistently identified are always the same. It always starts with leadership, or as we like to call it, LeaderShift. LeaderShift, together with, and this is in no specific order, change readiness, learning environments, organizational capacity for change, resource allocation and deployment, data-informed practices, and IT/ET practices. It turns out these are the critical factors for success. In further examination of these critical elements, extensive research and practical experience, we established a model to define exemplary modern learning organizations and what we believe to be essential to their success. This model is built upon the identified 6 foundational pillars that are comprised of 34 defining elements and 229 performance indicators. So now, let's take a moment to examine the pillars and their respective defining elements. Pillar 1 examines the current state of change readiness, essentially a snapshot of the modern learning organization's readiness for change and innovation. The elements examined under change readiness include collective vision, pedagogical and operational leadership, community support and benefits, evidence of change readiness, presence of innovators, educational and staff capacity. Pillar 2 represents learning environments. Current practices in all environments where teaching and learning are occurring. The elements examined under learning environments include modern learning practices, libraries as resource and learning commons, the role of IT/ET in teaching, learning, and assessment practices, equitable opportunities, home, school, community connection, and ubiquitous access. Pillar 3 represents organizational capacity. This pillar examines the current ability of the organization to support changes in learning environments. The elements include policies and procedures, professional learning, purchasing decisions, and budgetary support. Pillar 4 is resource allocation and deployment. This is about how resources are currently being identified and distributed within a school, district, or organization. The elements include resource capacity, connectivity, facilities and instructional design, and technical support. Pillar 5 is data-informed practices, or how data is used to inform practices and decision-making within the organization. The elements include triangulation, assessment, analysis and synthesis, evaluation, feedback, feed-forward, accountability, and reporting. The final pillar, Pillar 6, is IT/ET practices, which represents the seamless integration and alignment of informational technology and educational technology and related practices. This pillar includes the elements IT/ET leadership, instructional design for learning, IT/ET infrastructure, IT/ET service model, and IT/ET monitoring and reporting. These 6 foundational pillars and their 34 defining elements are measured against 229 indicators of performance. We believe that authentic data gathering using the 6 pillars is a must for any leader wanting to implement change or start an initiative. Our research has also uncovered that too often organizations approach change in a haphazard, ready, fire, aim, or ready, aim, backfire manner. In other words, they approach change by addressing some, but not all, of the essential pillars and elements. This is effectively explained by Robert Schwartz's Parts Whole Thinking framework. We will take a close look at Parts Whole Thinking in our next tutorial. For those of you who want to know more about the pillars, you can refer to chapter 4 of the book Leadership 2020, especially pages 111 to 120. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Our team will be more than happy to chat with you. Thank you for joining me for the third tutorial in this series. If you enjoyed this session, please give us a thumbs up. And if you can, please leave us a comment below. Remember to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so that you are notified when we upload new videos. I also want to remind you that if you want to dive deeper into leadership and any one of the pillars, we will be holding workshops during which we talk you through all the pillars so that you will be able to apply your learning immediately to your organization. To know when these workshops are taking place, watch this space. Thanks for watching. See you soon.